Let's see how tricky it is to see this. I thought it would be fun to make some fudge. And I know you guys all like it. So I thought we would try that. So let's see how far I can get. First, you need to take 2 3/4 cup of sugar. So there's one, and there's two, and there is half, and a quarter. So 2 3/4 cup of sugar. And next, Lupita, how are you? Next, after the sugar, you need 4 ounces of unsweetened chocolate. So I have got this bar of Ghirardelli chocolate. And we will see how that goes into the fudge. Hey, Fuzzy. So there's 4 or 2 ounces. And here's 4 ounces of unsweetened chocolate. And then next on the list is a cup of half and half. So let me measure out a cup of half and half. So a cup of half and half. And then we're also gonna need a tablespoon of corn syrup, which I hope I can find. Hold on a second. There it is. Got it just fine. A cup of or tablespoon of corn syrup. And I like to spray my measuring spoon before I ever try to put corn syrup in it, because that way it just slips right out. Slicker and that gross green stuff. Yeah. So the last thing we add right now is a quarter cup. No, a tablespoon and a half of butter. Thanks, Lupita. It just makes it come clean a little easier, that's all. And now I need a tablespoon and a half of butter. So we're just gonna eyeball it here. We'll call that a tablespoon and a half. There we go. Now, all of that needs to be brought to a boil. So I use a silicone spatula to bring this up to temp. You don't have to take your time, but you don't want to burn anything either. So get the sugar and milk stirred together. And I will pull over a chair and chat with you guys while this comes up to temperature. Um, doesn't call for salt. And I'll add the vanilla extract at the end. I bet you could add some salt and that would be good, but looking at the recipe, no, it does not call for any salt, Lupita. So again, the recipe, you guys, is 2 3/4 cups of sugar, 4 ounces of unsweetened chocolate, 3 tablespoons of butter, but you only put a tablespoon and a half of that amount in right now. A cup of half and half, a tablespoon of corn syrup, and then for later, when this comes to up to heat, yeah, 3 tablespoons of butter. So there's a tablespoon and a half in there, Lupita. And then after it comes up to heat, we add the butter. Hello, how are you, dear? We are making fudge. Well, the chocolate and the butter are already starting to melt together, y'all. Look at that. Was I right that I saw Paolo, or am I imagining it? No, I was imagining it. Imagining that I saw Paolo. So that's about a tablespoon and a half, maybe a little more than that. I did see Paolo. I just didn't see him earlier. He was in here. I'm sorry, Paolo. I haven't had my glasses on. That'll teach me to think I can read things from far away without my glasses on. My bad. So then what you got to do, y'all, is you got to bring this to a boil. So first you got to melt the chocolate and the butter and the sugar together. All nice like. And that is happening. And then you want to turn the heat up. Then you want to turn the heat up. He is here. I thought it was Fuzzy earlier, so I greeted Fuzzy. Thank you for letting me know, Lupita. I completely misread the chat. That's terrible. I won't do that anymore. So we got to bring this to a boil. And cook it until your digital thermometer reads 234 degrees. Okay, so we need to melt all of this. Before it comes to a boil. So it's not quite melted. I try really hard to keep the sides clean at this point. As it goes forward, you need to not care as much because you don't want to mess with the crystallization process. Okay, so that looks pretty well incorporated and melted. So now what we need to do is turn up the heat and bring it to a boil. And look, that didn't take very long. So once it comes to a boil, you need to reduce the heat back down to medium low and cover it. And I just dropped some on the floor. And hey Siri, set a timer for 3 minutes. And set a timer for 3 minutes, y'all. I'll be right back. Didn't have my timer set ready. Okay, so it is. Thank you, Pablo. It is coming to a boil. Did I say Pablo, Paolo? I probably did. You know I know your name. Hell, I've mistaken you for Fuzzy today. I'm all over the place. Thank you, Paolo. I adore you as well. So another minute and a half. Nope, just about a minute. And I will take the lid off of that. And if you guys don't have a digital instant read thermometer like this, you should really, really get one. This is ours. It works like a charm. And if you're going to make this recipe, you really need an instant read thermometer. So there is our fudge. And let's see where the thermometer is reading. So we need it to cook until it gets to 234. Oh, A pounding, if you guys can hear it. Pounding is the cats jumping on their cat trees. 2:34. It can take a while of just watching the thermometer go up. Well, that's chocolate, sugar, milk, and butter. You don't get much tastier than that, I don't think. There sure are a lot of you here for how quiet it is. We are essentially waiting for water to evaporate, liquid to evaporate from the fudge, because as that evaporation happens, it becomes more and more concentrated. And as it becomes more concentrated, there's more sugar in it. And as there's more sugar in it, it can get hotter than the boiling temperature of water. And so it incrementally creeps up to be warmer than it incrementally creeps up to be warmer as the liquid evaporates off. And the secret temperature we are waiting for is 234 Fahrenheit. So you guys can see we are quickly on our way. Quickly on our way. Although you get some variance. You've got to move your thermometer around. You got to make sure that you're not in a hot spot. There's 233, but it cooled back down. There's 233. We're getting there. It's getting there slowly but surely. And the minute it hits, There we go. Okay, guys, that is getting covered and taken off the heat. The next thing we need to do after I clean this thermometer probe off, the next thing we need to do is put that other tablespoon and a half of butter right on top. So the directions say remove the heat, add the remaining butter. So let's add the remaining butter. That's done. Now we have a choice. It is necessary to let the fudge cool until it drops to 110 degrees, which this says will take about 10 minutes, but which I actually expect to take more like 45. So, what would y'all like to do in the meantime, if anything? What are your thoughts, y'all? I think what I'm gonna do is I am gonna stop the stream for now, and I will take a video later, or maybe I'll go live again. We will see. But I will post the finishing touches on the fudge later. But in the meantime, y'all, thank you for coming. I hope that this has taught you. Tell us what, Lupita? Hold on. How you get started with YouTube? You, well, give me 1 second, Lupita. Thank you, Lupita. To get started with YouTube is really fairly easy, Lupita. You already have a Facebook channel. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Or not a Facebook channel. You already have a YouTube channel, Lupita. By simple fact that you are chatting with me I know that you have a YouTube channel. And so all you need to do, dear, is take your camera or your phone and put up a video. That is all you do. And if you want me to show you how, I can walk you through that. I totally can walk you through that, just not right now, this instant. How did I begin? Eh, Well, I originally started on YouTube. Um, I originally started on YouTube because I wanted a way to connect with people. And I wasn't quite sure how to do that. So I did it a lot of different ways. Well, not a lot of different ways. I made some videos talking about me and what I wanted for my channel. Um, but I didn't really do anything with it because I e- I didn't see how it would be interesting. Hold on one moment. I didn't see how it would be interesting for me to just babble silently in front of a computer with no audience. So I didn't see what good going live would be to me. But then when I hold on just a second, one more time, Lapita. Hi. Um, I saw the Scientology protests and I was involved with Scientology, with a offshoot of Scientology, an unauthorized offshoot of Scientology for a number of years. And so as a result of that, I have always had it in a bit for Scientology itself. Um, so I thought that joining the protests might be an excellent way to protest against high control groups and authoritarianism, which I'm already against, as well as support ex-Scientologists and get myself out in the community, the local community, because I was protesting locally, and also get me involved in the online community. And so I went down to the org a few times and I protested and I took video when I was protesting. And I got really lucky and got a lot of subscribers right off the bat. A lot of views, a lot of watches. It didn't take me long to get to 50 subscribers. And you need 50 subscribers to go live on YouTube through YouTube. So that's why I got started. And I did the protesting thing for quite some time, um, until my body and my health and my anxiety kind of decided that trying to do it as regularly as I had been doing it was too much. And school became a lot more for me. Um, and actually, because I was in school, that's why I started doing study streams and more streams at home are much easier on my body. So I started doing more streams from home, and I have found that to be much easier for me than going out into the community. And additional with the additional risks right now to being for being demonstrating at all against anything. The last thing, Orion is having the zoomies. I don't know if you can hear him. So that is the answer to that question. Do you have any other questions, Lupita? It's going to take a good hour. It's going to take a good hour before um, that fudge is cool. So I'm not sure if you want to talk that long. So after the fudge has cooled, so you've put the butter on top of the fudge when it was done, the tablespoon and a half of butter. While it's cooling, it's covered and there's butter on top of it. I was not ill. I have fibromyalgia and anxiety and depression. So those the the cold weather makes it harder, and the fibromyalgia, it was just becoming too much for me physically and emotionally to really continue being out there. That was the problem. Um, so it can take an hour for that fudge to cool down. It needs to cool all the way to 110 degrees. And then what you need to do is you need to beat it until it becomes matte and not glossy. And that process is what burned out my hand mixer's motor last time I made fudge. To be fair, I let the fudge get cooler than I should have, so there is that. So it needs to get to 110 degrees. The melted butter will be all covered on top. And when you start beating it, you add the vanilla, a teaspoon of vanilla. And like I said, you beat it until it gets matte, and then you pour it into an 8 by 8 pan and let it cool. And when it's cool, you've got fudge. Voila. That is all it takes. It's not an inexpensive product. It's a cup of sugar and or almost 2 cups of sugar and a cup of half and half and quarter cup or so of butter and a bar of baking chocolate, but it is doesn't have any eggs in it, so at least you're not having to spend money on eggs. So, Lupita, have you ever made fudge from scratch? I have. I've had friends who have told me in the past that they don't like fudge. Um, it's pretty amazing, Lupita. It the crystals form into this creamy structure that's really unlike anything. And, I've had people tell me they don't like fudge, and I always have to ask if it is because they've had marshmallow fudge. Do they know the difference between real fudge and marshmallow fudge? Oh my goodness, you guys. I wish I had lights and my house wasn't such a mess because you will never guess who is right here about to get in my face and personal. Soda is upset with me because I have not fed them and it is past their feeding time. Fudge is really easy. It's like making pie. It's almost as easy as making pie. Doesn't take a whole lot of skill. Just follow the directions. Don't overwork things. Pay attention, and you will be rewarded. Indeed, you will be rewarded. So, with that, Lupita dear, I think I am gonna take off. If you would like, yeah. I'm gonna take off. I will post follow-up notes or a video about what needs to happen to finish up the fudge for y'all. Take care, Lapita. Thanks for hanging out with me. See y'all later.